Hey everybody, how are we doing today? Well, weather's getting a little warmer. Things are starting to melt outside, but my next project is on the 51. Now the 51 originally came with drum brakes all the way around. So when I rebuilt it, I did all new drum brakes all the way around. I didn't do the drums. I just packed wheel bearings and did new linings and wheel cylinders and brake hoses, get it on the road. Now I drove it that way for what, a year and a half, something like that. What I did do, when I upgraded the brakes, I did a Hydro Boost system, which I'll show you what that is. Okay, now, traditionally, get over here. Traditionally, they'll put a vacuum, you'll have a vacuum booster here. Now, this I believe it's Hydro Boost, I believe that's the right term for it, runs off the power steering pump. Now, the only reason for this power steering pump is to run the Hydro Boost. It gives it power. And that gives you your power brakes. Problem being, this wasn't designed for drum brakes. So I got a regulator here so I can turn down the pressure. Regulator here. So I could turn down the pressure on the brakes. But the front brakes it's still really grabby. Stops really good, but you got to be careful you don't stomp the brakes because it's really grabby in the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upgrade the front brakes I'll show you what I got here. Good old Speedway. So it's going to get disc brakes in the front. I got all the adapters. They give you all bearings, hoses, calipers, brackets to put the calipers on. Pretty much everything you need in one kit. You don't have to change the spindles, use the original spindles, and everything just bolt on. So let's get started with it. Just so I don't get in trouble here. I don't think it will, but we'll find out. Double check everything. Am I good? Looks like it. Up, up, and away. By the way, if you haven't got one of these lifts yet, you need one. I think that'll do it. All right. Okay. It's supposed to work with the original wheels. Hopefully it does. I'll go over and loosen up the other side. Okay, then I got the tire up here, jacked up off its what you call it? Okay, so I got the car up here, got the car jacked up off its tires here. Get the weight off the tires. Remember these? Star wrench. Now a lot of people probably think, why don't you go get the impact? Everything's not about cordless tools. The old ways work just as well, although they're slower. One good thing about this, I don't ever have to charge it up. I never have to wait for a dead battery. I don't have to worry about anybody stealing it. That's right. Somebody walked up with one of my impacts about a year ago. Guy came up to look at the car. It's gone. There it be. Now what? Now pull the whole thing apart. This is going way back to the very basic stuff. I don't think I'm going to be using any of these again, but we'll see. Yeah, I don't know where my big channel locks went, so I had to use these little ones. I knew I was going to be doing this when I did these brakes, so I did not change these wheel bearings over to roller bearings, because these are ball bearings in these drums. Old school, baby. The old ones were actually balls, and the race fit in there. Like that stuff. These would be upgraded to roller bearings instead of ball bearings. Much more gooder. Rag time. Yeah, it looks like all we have is one brake line and these 4 bolts to pull the backing plate off. The tie rod's got to come off. That's loose. Am I gonna get lucky? Probably not. Nope. No, it's not the right way of doing it, but that's what we always did it. If you use a pickle fork on this to split it, you'll ruin that boot. That boot's already broken, but there it goes. Hammering on that knuckle will jar it loose. Put that back on there so it's not lost. All right, now to get those 4 bolts out. Okay, so I got this brake line disconnected, and to keep it from constantly leaking, I just cut a piece of 1/4-inch fuel line, stuck a bolt in it, shoved it on there. That'll keep it from leaking. Otherwise, it'll drain until the master cylinder is empty. Get that clip off of there for the brake. Get that clip off of there for the brake. And the brake line's off. Now I need a 5/8 socket. It's on the back here. outside a lot of goop. Years of old grease. All right. Right there. Yeah, both sides are 5/8. Oh yeah. I'm gonna need a bigger wrench. There's one. Let me chip off the rest of this goo. Two. Three. Four. Those bottom two actually castellated, did a cotter pit in them, but it was so gummed up I couldn't see it and I just kind of sheared them off. There's our bolt. There's a spacer goes on that one. All right. All right. Steering arm. Steering arm goes back on. But I'm gonna spend some time scraping crud here, get it kind of cleaned up. Okay, now it says got this all cleaned up. Well, clean enough. Use a couple of the original bolts down low. Hold the steering arm where it goes. Come on, like that. And then this bracket, this hooks around the spindle, goes on that bolt there, like that. I think that's right. These are self-locking nuts. Okay, now I can pull. No, I'm gonna go that way. Like that. These are all the same size. I always save all the old hardware. I'll put it all together so it's all in one package, so it's all nice and neat. There's how that goes. Just like that. Okay, let's try to tighten stuff up. The instructions they give you, they're kind of generic. They fit a lot of different vehicles. So I don't know if I need this or not, or those spacers. We'll find out quick enough. Oh, I guess now I see if the rotor will fit on there. All right, so I'm putting things together and I got shorted into my package. Now, this inner bearing goes here. The center bearing goes here on the rotor, but not supposed to have that. They have a bushing that goes in here. It makes that fit and also gives the seal somewhere to ride. So I called Speedway, where I got this from, and they're real good. I'll wait on hold for a little bit, but they're real good and they're all apologetic. And they're going to get me those pieces, but I'm not going to have them for, I don't know. They said hopefully by the end of next week. So probably 2 weeks. I'll put this on hold. So I'll work on something else. What I'm thinking about doing is when I did the upholstery in here, I never finished it. I don't know, I did the seats, got the headliner in, but I never did the door panels. So I think I'm going to work on those. I've got all the material. These are pretty straightforward, not too tough. So I think I'm going to start on that. Okay, so I got a little ahead of myself. I got the other side all buttoned up and forgot to videotape it. So I think this is where I left off. Got the backing plate pulled off. Got most of the grease and crud pulled off. Now your bearing, your inner bearing, takes an adapter to make it fit. Here's the adapter. Now it says in the instructions that this should be about 5 thousandths under. And it should be a tight fit. You're going to put this on. I mean, I got the tiniest bit of play like that. So what I did on the other side, and it seemed to work out pretty good, I just put a series of center punch marks. Just like that. Now just those three make it tight. That I can't push it on. So what I did is I went around quartered, there. Then so I basically put 8 sets of center marks around there. And then I drove this on. And then I took the welder and I put a couple of tack beads in 3 spots around it that aren't going to interfere with the seal. And that worked out really well. Yeah, I mean, they forgot to put these in the package. I had to wait a week and a half to get them. And they finally got them, but then they don't quite fit quite right. I mean, okay, I can get that on. But that's still, it'll move. So that's just enough to give it a little bit of resistance. I figure I put them around evenly. That makes it even resistance. Pretty much should center it and then tack weld it and call it good. So that's what I'm going to do. All around. Right there. So I'm doing 6, 3, and 2, 9. And I'll do the other ones. Try to make it even. I don't know. In my mind, I'll try to make it even out. Be a little closer. Close everything I do. Like that. And then I take this. I made a little tool to drive it on there. Just a piece of 1.5-inch pipe that fits over it pretty good. And that's up there. I don't trust that to be good enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the tack welds. And then I'm good with it. Yep, all the way up tight. I don't think it's going to take much to hold it in place. And that's all I'm going to do. I don't see any reason to do any more. That's nice and tight. Now I'll clean that off, those bumps off there, so I can get the bearing on. Then rock and roll. Got those filed off there. These don't matter because the seal rides right about in the center. So those are fine like that. Cool. Now I can put the bracket on. All I gotta do is find it. There it is. Now the bracket bolts on. Here. Yeah, I got confused here. Now the bracket goes on. Gotta get the steering arm on, at least one arm. And then we give it 2 different length bolts. Long bolt, it's on the bottom. What am I doing? What am I doing? Come on now. Those go like that. There it is. There it is. There it is. That bolt goes like that. And these shorter ones are right there. Just like that. It's actually a pretty well made kit. That goes there, that goes there. Well, mission washer. No, I'm not. There it is. Now I'll bolt that up. Five-eighths, that's 11/16. What am I doing here? What am I doing? Come on now, Billy. exact torque tolerances. There we go. That's what that kit looks like. Works pretty well. Now I can put the rotor on. The new rotors already got the new bearing greased in there, new grease seal. With that a little bit. There it goes. Just like that. Now these always end up shorter, meaning the spindle is a little bit long because it was originally for the other bearing, the other ball bearings. The hub is physically longer. So I add 2 washers to it, and I use the old nut. Put that on there like that. Look at that, that is perfect. Get the cotter pin. Now if you see this castellated nut, you see the cotter pin's way out here, not catching it. I've done a couple of these now and they're always like that. So what I'll do it like that. Like that. Bang it over into there like that. This one I'll bring up. The inner one I mostly cut off, then drive it into the lower key. The lower spot in that castellated nut. And this half, I'll bring over like that. That way it can't fall out, it can't slide. It's locked in. Then I give you a new little dust cap. I'll put that on there. Uh-oh, running out of battery. Kind of started going. And there we go, that's that. And this is just like any other disc brake setup. What they don't do is they don't give you the fabric on the back of the disc that makes it quiet. There's nothing in there, so I'm gonna take this apart and get some disc brake quiet because I don't have any. but I will. I'll just take it apart again, not a big deal. And these just take a 3/8 Allen. Where did my ratchet go? There it is. They do give you a new brake line that's proper length, and the banjo bolt, and the washer. So we do washer. Let's see how we're going to do this now. Yeah, do washer, banjo bolt, washer, it's got a little plug in the back. Little rubber plug. Come on, there it is. When you first snug them up, what you do, you put them in there, tighten them up, snug, give them a bump with a hammer. Not crazy, just that. And you'll notice that seats those washers and helps them tighten up. Put the little horseshoe clippy-doo on the back. I know, I got my back to you. Oh no. There it is. Now I get that line tightened up. And there it is. That gives you a nice setup. It fits nice. Pretty well made. That's all. So, and all I gotta do is, I'm gonna pull these back off, put some disc brake bluing stuff, disc brake quiet we used to call it, behind that inside disc. And in the meantime, I just gotta bleed them out, take it for a ride. Weather's really crappy right now, so I won't be taking it for a ride. But I will be backing it out in the yard. That's it for now. Appreciate you everybody watching. This is a good upgrade. Take care.